Hello everybody. I'm going to show you. So this is Mary at Yard Art RS. I'm going to show you how to paint a scarecrow that's sitting on a bucket. Okay? So this scarecrow sitting on the bucket is 40 inches tall. And hi Carla, how are you? So glad you could join me. We're going to do a scarecrow on a bucket. He's 40 inches tall and probably about 20 inches wide. And I've got a lot of him base coated. And what I wanted to do is I haven't finished base coating him. So I kind of wanted to show you guys what I do. Hey Debbie, how are you? So I have my scarecrow and I base coated a lot of the colors the other day. But I intentionally left some of it unbase coated because I kind of wanted to walk you through how I might do some base coating to make it a little easier. So what I did is I base coated the entire face and the hair in scarecrow white, knowing that the hair is going to be yellow. I did that for two reasons. So if I base coat all of this in white like I did previously on another video, I think I did it on that sunflower video the other day. Base coating all of this in white is super easy. You just kind of slap the paint on there with your, with your mop brush, right? And then I let it all dry. And then what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do this tonight, I'm gonna show you, what I do after I've base coated something like that, and I've got a lot of other things that need to be base coated on top of that, little areas. What I would do is I would just get that script liner and kind of use that to base coat some of those things. Now, obviously, I'm gonna have to do some blow drying on this guy because I'm gonna try to finish the whole thing for you guys tonight. Hi, Paula, how are you? I'm so glad y'all could join me. It's Monday, y'all. I can tell the time is getting so much darker, quicker. It used to be, you know, like in the summer at 7 o'clock, you still felt like it was just the daytime. And it's 7 o'clock now, and for all intents and purposes, it's dark. So I was just saying earlier in another video, I think it was last week, I went ahead and base coated the scarecrow on a bucket. He's 40 inches tall. And I just base coated the face and the hair all in scarecrow white. And then tonight I'm kind of doing some base coating of colors for you. So what I typically do in an area like this, I would base coat the whole thing scarecrow white. And then I'm going to use my script liner to come in here and do areas that need to be base coated that are kind of small. So for example, on the eyes right here, this will be white. So I'll get a little bit of white. Because to me, it's easier just to go ahead and base coat everything in scarecrow white and then come back with your script liner. Hey Kelly, how are you doing? I'm so glad you could join us. Have your script liner and come back and put a little bit of color on top of that scarecrow white. And to me, that's just a little easier way to base coat your colors. So I did that, I got that. I think that's all I need in white. Now the next thing right underneath the white, or right above the white, I should say. And I keep turning over here. All I'm doing is washing out my little script liner with a bucket of water. That's all I'm doing over here. I'm gonna turn this over just a little bit more this way. That'll be better. So I've got this brilliant blue. And I'm just loading it with this, loading my script liner. I'm gonna put some blue here because that's kind of the blue of his eyes. And if you'll do that with the script liner on those small areas just to base coat, that'll make it a little easier on you as opposed to trying to get a big brush in a little area. And then I'm gonna put black obviously in the top part of the eyes. And then I'll work on his hair. So I'm gonna put some black on here. I'll have to do a little bit of blow drying tonight to try to finish this guy for you guys so y'all can kind of see it from beginning to end. I know sometimes videos can get kind of long, so I try to kind of push through it a little bit. And but just in that little bit of time we've been on, just a few minutes, you can see I'm already laying my base coat colors on top of that scarecrow white. Now this is his hair over here, so I've got that yellow. And I'm just gonna kind of come over here with that script liner. Now this is an area, honestly, that's big enough. You could use a mop brush if you wanted to over here. I'm just showing you because I know I can do this very quickly with the script liner. And the script liner is what I've been working with the last few minutes, so I'm just gonna stick with it. But you can just base coat your colors anytime that are small area that needs a base coat. So I started with Scarecrow White on the face and the hair, but of course my hair needs to be yellow. And what I thought I would do, of course you can see I'm dropping yellow all around here. That's not good, so I'm going to just kind of take my finger and push that paint back. There we go. Okay, so we've got hair all the way on this side. So I'm coming up here, to there, to there. And again, I'm just taking that script liner and just pushing that paint wherever I want it to go. And I'm gonna do my sides. Hey Kathy, how are you? I got your order and I got my son working on it. I'm hoping he's gonna cut it pretty soon for you. And but I got it all in the works for you. I told everybody I did this Scarecrow. I did some base coating on this guy in the video last week on the sunflower pumpkin. And I base coated the whole thing in his whole face in Scarecrow White and his hair. And I let it dry. And then I'm just coming along and laying some base coat colors on top of that Scarecrow White. I'll have to break out the hair dryer here in a minute. But what I thought I would do is while I'm shading these other colors that are dry, this can be drying, and then I'll shade this. So I'm just taking that script liner and just kind of making that paint go wherever I want it to go. Using a script liner right now for something other than outlining. So you can use your script liner to put a base coat of a color somewhere that's a small area. All right, now I even forgot the other day, I should have done, he has a little patch on his sleeve, and I think I usually do that patch in green. So I've got my Christmas green here. Again, just using this script liner because I don't have a big area. So I'll load that up and just kind of come over here. So when you're base coating, you really have a choice about what brush to use. I say use whatever brush you think can get the job done the quickest. Well, you know, it depends. Base coating is my least favorite part. It might be, you might not feel that way. I think shading and outline are my favorites. So, you know, it's just kind of whatever you want to do. But I, a lot of times will put a base coat on something and like this case, the whole pink shirt, and then come back and lay the pink, lay the green patch on top of that pink shirt with this script liner. Also, I did not do some gray. This little guy has some gray on his suspenders, or I guess that's what you call this part of it. So and this is number 24 gray that I'm doing, and all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of paint in here. Yeah, I tell you, everybody in the world is calling me wanting stuff cut out. Yeah, I'm glad Debbie mentioned that. We have a Zoom meeting tomorrow, and that's your opportunity to ask us anything that you want to. Gossip or talk or jibber jaw or whatever you want to call it, fellowship. We'll be on tomorrow. Ashley will send everybody a Zoom invite, and it's at 7. We're usually on for maybe 45 minutes, an hour, give or take. It's your time to just kind of let your hair down, so to speak, and tell us, is there anything on your mind or anything you want to ask or anything you've been curious about or anything you want us to know, or just kind of getting to know each other. Sometimes we don't even talk about painting. We just talk about our families or, you know, anything like that. I promise we keep it all rated G. We're a pretty harmless bunch, and we don't get into anything too difficult to deal with. So I'm putting some of the gray, this is my patch that I'm gonna have right here, on the outfit. Okay, so now I base coated this guy actually incorrectly. So I wanna show you what that means. have some pink right here. Right over here is his other arm, and I messed that part up, so I'm gonna fix it right now. So at this point, I've almost got all my base coating done. And then of course, it's just shading. That's probably some of my favorite things, the shading and the outlining. I just think that's probably because that's when it, to me, really starts to look good, when you get all the shading and the outlining done on it. Now I've just got this light pink. This light pink I think is number 25, light pink, let's see. Yeah, number 25 light pink. And I'm just gonna use this script liner to base coat that pink on there. So when you have to base coat your colors, you're gonna use your brush based, I think, on the size of what you're base coating. So in this case, that's just a little area, so I use a script liner. And I'll put that lid back on my yellow. Yeah, now I think I have everything done as far as my base coating. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now grab a flat tip brush, something like this, actually, probably like this. I'm gonna start with that purple hat. And typically what I do is whatever light color is here, I will shade it in that shading color, the corresponding shading color. So in this case, this is the shading purple. It's number 28. I think the light purple is number 27. And all I'm going to do, of course this yellow is still wet, so I'm gonna try to avoid that. All I'm gonna do is just take that brush and kind of give it like that, and I'm going to just pull, and notice that where I'm running out of paint. I'm running out of paint about right there, aren't I? So I'm gonna just kind of go over here, give it some more paint, and come back this way. You can always add paint if you need to. And then of course I'm gonna come on this side of the hat, like so. I'm running out of paint, so I'm gonna pick up some more. And I'm gonna do this. Now what I typically do on the, kind of like the inside of the brim, I kind of shade all that in. And then I'll take my brush and just do a couple of strokes. And then I'll do the same thing up here. You can kind of tell when I start to run out of paint. And I'll come up here, something like this. And that's really all the purple I have. So I'm just over here washing that brush out. And I'm gonna go to, I think I'll do the, his red overalls. Now the red overalls were done in the glitter red. I think that's number 22. Yeah, number 22. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this shading red, right? And I'm just gonna kind of take my brush and go around the areas where that CNC line is. And you can see that gray paint is wet. But that's okay, I'm gonna keep going. And I'm gonna bring that here and just outline the top part of those suspenders. I think this is the suspender that you call it. So I'll come in here, I'll do something like that, and I'll come in here, and I'll go around his patch. Again, I just keep putting paint in there. And I'll probably do something like this. Making that paint just go where I want it to go. Something like that. And then I'll come over here and come down, and I just keep dipping that brush in and dipping that brush in, just getting my paint. Y'all, it's hard to believe it's already October. I think it's the 11th, whatever day it is. It's like, geez, I cannot believe it. Okay, so I've got that part done. I'm gonna work on, let's do a little bit of green here on his tennis shoes. Probably what I would do, this is, oh Lord, my brush just fell apart, y'all. So my brush is old, so look what just happened. This is what happened with my brush. Okay, it just kind of went into two pieces on me. But hey, sometimes that happens. Hey Victoria, how are you? I saw that you may need to trade with Ashley. That's fine. I think she said her and Ashley may have to trade. She's got something going on. May not be able to do a live on the day she thought she could. So, but yeah, that's fine, and I can just repost the calendar. Okay, so I've got my green, and what I would typically do on a tennis shoe is I would come in here and I would just kind of go along like something like that. Just making a little bit of some dark green. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that same dark green. I put down my shading or my flat tip brush, and I'm picking up this script liner. I'm glad you're doing good, Miss Victoria. And I'm gonna come in here using the same color of paint. I'm just gonna outline that shoe. Okay, I'm gonna go up here and outline his tennis shoe. That's just kind of what I like to do. And then I might do something like that. Okay, I'm gonna come over here just so you can see. This is what I'm trying to do is do what I can, because I've got so much of this that's wet because I didn't base coat some of it until I started tonight, just so I could show y'all how I would do some base coating on different things. And then I would probably just hang out here and kind of come up here like that. Give him a little bit of a sole on the shoe about here. So yeah, I think that shoe looks good. Not a whole lot to him, but that's all right. I'm gonna work on the bucket, and y'all know by now, y'all know me well enough to know I'm gonna do shading brown right here. Shading brown, I think that's number 34. So I'm gonna do shading brown on here. Now my brush still has some water in it, and that's good. I'm gonna just kind of dip it in here. And all I'm really doing on my bucket is I'm following just the CNC lines. That's all I'm doing. Nothing too serious. I think as long as you know, you can follow those lines and really get off to a great start. Now you can always add more detail than what's there. The lines are there to give you that basic pattern, right? And if you want to just do that basic pattern, that's fine too. So I'm gonna come up here. I've got that shading brown in here. This way I probably would do it what I would call vertical, go horizontal, and then probably do vertical here. And then I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna come over here. Okay, now I'd probably do a horizontal here. Now that leads me to typically what I would probably do on the scarecrow hand. This is just kind of something I like to do. I typically on the glove or the hand don't do a lot of shading. There's no rhyme or reason you don't have to shade it, or you can shade it. It's really whatever you want to do. But I typically just script liner that. And so let me come in here and do this. Okay, so I've got some shading brown in here, just the same brown I used to shade that. And I'm gonna come in here with that script liner. Just go back in there, pick up some more paint, and come up like that. Just enough to show the glove of the hand. And then I'll come up here like this. I actually forgot some yellow. He's got a little bit of hay hanging out right here underneath his, in between his sleeve and the hand. So I'm gonna put a little bit of here, just a little bit of yellow, and I'll come back and shade that later on. Okay. I keep washing out my brush because I got so many colors. So I love doing scarecrows. I've always loved doing them. Sometimes they can be kind of daunting, but I don't think you can go wrong with a good scarecrow. So let me start the dryer here a little bit. And while it's drying, I'll talk to you a little bit about the October schedule. I don't think it'll take too long. It won't dry perfectly, and it won't dry to be cured, but I don't have to have that. As long as it dries enough that I can put a top coat on there, that's all that really matters. So, see, today is today is the 12th. Wow, Monday the 12th, October the 12th. So I'm doing the Scarecrow, and tomorrow night, like Debbie mentioned, we have the Zoom meeting, so hope you guys can join us. We just kind of get together and talk, ask questions, share things, talk about our kids or whatever. Usually about 45 minutes or an hour. It's a good way to kind of hang out if you have any questions and you know, if there's anything Ashley and I can do to answer or make suggestions or whatever. Then next week, Miss Victoria is scheduled to do the sunflower pumpkin, but we may make a change. She may swap with Ashley. And that I will let y'all know plenty in advance. She may go on the 25th, and then Ashley goes on the 21st. We'll see how I'll get with her. And if we have to make that change, no big deal. So Miss Victoria is doing the sunflower pumpkin. And let's see. She is also doing the scarecrow face with the pumpkin. So she's got two things. I don't think Ashley has anything the rest of the month. So we may have to make a change just with Miss Victoria. No big deal. So she's going to, in fact, I'm going to post the photos. Miss Victoria sent me some photos. Or if you want to, Miss Victoria, go ahead and post those photos. She sent me of the sunflower pumpkin. I thought that was super, 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 super cute. She did such a good job. And there was something else you sent me, the sunflower pumpkin, and I can't remember what the other one was. But go ahead and post those photos if you want, both on the Academy and on the Painters Club, just so people can see what we got going on. So I've got my little hair dryer here, and you can see it's not going to be perfectly dry, but I'm getting it dry enough that I could do a little bit of shading, because I really want to show y'all. I have a lot of paint on there, and that's just part of what it takes to make yard art, y'all. So much of it is the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, that's right. They were all so cute, so cute. Loved them, loved them. I don't know how you did that. Miss Victoria, did you have a stencil on that sunflower pumpkin? I thought that was so pretty. And then, of course, the part that you did on the middle on the sunflower itself was really awesome. That was really, really pretty. She'll post those, and you guys can see. And I love the fact that she's doing something so very different. Oh, yeah, I did too. That whimsical Grinch-looking tree, that was so cute. I really like the fact that Miss Victoria does that for us, because it only demonstrates, case in point, that you don't have to do anything near what I might do or Ashley might do. You can certainly do what we do if you want to, but you can also make them look so much different and super cute, I think. And that's really kind of the beauty of art as far as I'm concerned. It's just that idea that you can kind of do your own thing. And, you know, the cool thing about painting is, hey, if it doesn't work out the way you want it, you just paint over it. That's what I do. That's what I do. So, oh, good. She's going to show us how to use the stencil. Good, good. And Miss Victoria, can you tell us, just for curiosity, so people will know where you got the stencil in case they want to get it? It's super cute, and I love what she did with it. She did a stenciled background on that pumpkin, and it just turned out really, really good. So, okay, I'm going to go to a smaller, this is a number 12 flat tip brush, and you can see it's pretty small. I'm going to put a little bit of water in it, because it's, this brush is not aged very much. It's still pretty new. So I'm going to try to work with it. We're going to see how this goes. Now, you know, one of the things that I'm always going to do, especially on a new brush, is I'm going to do this. It's probably against everything you're supposed to do, but I'm going to force this brush petals, the bristles, to fan out. That's what I'm doing. I'm forcing that. Again, I'm just tipping it on the edge there. And I won't put near as much pressure on here simply because I know I got so much wet paint under there. But you're going to get the idea of what I'm going to do here. And all I'm doing is I'm going in and just following that CNC line. That's all I'm going to do. I'll probably bring this one all the way up, or however you want to say that. Yeah. Y'all, my light yellows want to move around because it's really not dry, but that's all right. We'll pretend that it is, y'all. And so we're gonna come in here. And all I'm doing is just following those CNC lines with this paint. And then of course I've got this little area down here. I don't want to forget that. And that little area, kind of come in like that and draw that in, if you will. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go make this my hat band. Like so. Like so. Okay, so I've got a little bit more hay sticking out, or hair, whatever you want to call it, over here on this side. She bought the stencils at Tuesday morning, but Michael's and Hobby Lobby always have stencils too. That's good. I don't, you know, I hate to say it, but I really don't shop much, so I don't get out a lot. So I never know. I'm glad you told me that. I did not realize that they have stencils, so that's good. That's good. And you don't necessarily even have to use a stencil if you don't want to. I just liked what Miss Victoria happened to do with hers. I thought it was super cute. Okay. I'm just drawing in that, or shading in that hair, or hay, whatever you want to call it. So I'll come in here and I'll just kind of do a line. I had something on my brush up here like this. Okay. Oh Lord, y'all, I dropped my, I cannot drop my script liner, y'all. I have to have that. Okay. I got a little bit of, this is really wet, so I don't think this is gonna go too well, but I'm gonna try it. Just kind of put some right in here. Okay, I think I got that. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this same brush, I'm just gonna clean it out. He is cute, I agree. Hey Rachel, I'm so glad you could join us. Carla says he's cute. You know, Carla, I don't know how many years I've done scarecrows, probably a long time. And it's kind of one of those that I just never get tired of them. Now, sometimes, I think it was Miss Joy, she caught me at the store one day and she was, you know, telling me some things about, she was having trouble with shading, and she and I talked about this, and I just shared this a while ago. But if you have a brush that's not aged it's not aged very much, I think the more the brush has aged, the easier it is to use. So let's say your brush is new. This is a pretty new brush for me, y'all. If you can still read all of this, for me, that's pretty new, right? So if you have a brush that you want to put some age on it, because I think if you age it, it will hold color a little better. Put it in the water for, maybe 2, 3, 4 days. But now when you do, here's my bucket of water. So let's say you're gonna put it in a bucket of water. Make sure that you have enough water. See, I got enough water in there that this thing is kind of bouncing around in there. If you don't, if your brush isn't floating in the water, then what happens on the bottom of that bucket, your brush is gonna sit like this, and you really don't want it to sit like that for 3 or 4 days, okay? So if you put it in water, make sure your bucket is deep enough that this thing's gonna float a little bit. And that's what I've always done. And then once you do that, if you wanna start using it, you'll probably have a little bit better luck getting it to hold some paint. So what I do is, you're gonna take a little bit of water out of that, especially when brushes are new. This is how I get this brush to look like, hold on a second, I'll show you. This is why Ashley would always try to steal my brushes. This is an aged brush. I mean, you almost want to say, golly, gee, it looks horrible. But to me, this is like perfect. You can see it's older, the bristles are fanning out more. So it's gonna take you a little while to get your brushes to have some age on them. Hey Renee, how are you? I'm glad you could join us. So if you have a new brush like this, just do this trick. This is what I do. And kind of bear down really hard and make that brush fan out. I'm trying to put it to where y'all could see. Make the bristles of that brush fan out, and you can see now that the bristles are fanning out a little bit more. I'm gonna have more luck getting some paint to hold that way. Okay. just a little tip or trick. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. So I've got my shading pink, which is number 26, and I'm gonna dip this in there, right? And I'm just gonna kind of come over, and I'll have to kind of keep dipping in here because like I said, this brush is not very old, and it's a smaller brush too, so it's gonna take a little bit of, I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of dipping back and forth in here to get some paint on here. Okay, and I probably would just do something like that. And then I'll come in here on the inside of that shirt and bring it in here. I will also, just because this is what I like, you don't necessarily have to do this part, but I usually come in here and always do this part too. Now, I've got this little section over here that I just painted tonight when I was showing y'all how to base coat with a script liner. And so I'm going to come over here. Put a little bit of a shading pink over here. I'm gonna go very light because that paint underneath is still wet. Do that, like that. Okay, so now what I wanna do, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of shading green, which is I think number 10. Make sure I'm right. I'm sorry, number 12, dark green. Number 12, this is it, number 12, dark green right here. And I'm going to put some paint in here just to kind of outline my little patch. This is his patch. He's got that scarecrow patch. And I'm gonna come in here, and I'll probably do something like this. Again, you don't have to, strictly up to you. And I see my nose on this little guy needs some shading. So I'm gonna take some shading orange. This is the number 16 light orange. And I'm gonna do number 17 shading orange. And I'm not gonna put a whole lot of shading on here simply because it's not a big area. It's a smaller area. So I'm gonna just do it this way. Now, I'm really ready to work on outlining this guy. And here's the deal. He's got so many colors on him. You almost wanna go, geez Louise, where do I start as far as what color do I outline? So typically what I generally do is I will outline and shading orange on this hair. So on the hair or the hay, whatever you want to call it, this is a light yellow base coat, and then I did a shading yellow, right? And then I'm going to outline it in shading orange. So not 100% of the time do we just use a shading color for shading. You can use a shading color for an outline color if you want. Now, it doesn't mean you have to. I just kind of like the look of having that right here like so. I get a lot of orange on there. And the shading yellow is kind of like that gold, what I think of as a fall color. So right now I'm just outlining his hay or his hair, and I'll just outline where that CNC line is right in here. And then of course I'm gonna always outline that outer edge of it. This thing about, I don't know, there's just something about painting to me, y'all. I have painted during my most dark moments. And I think I've fared as well as I have in a lot of ways because, I mean, I don't care who you are. I think if you're a human being, if you live long enough, you're gonna have some dark moments. And for me, painting has really been, in a lot of ways, a therapy, a way to kind of just say, you know what, I might not can control X, Y, Z. I'm sure y'all can understand that. But I can, you know, get in here and work on doing something that I like. And then, of course, at the end of the day, if you do that, you've got something to show for it. And that's the other thing about painting that I think is so validating. It's not just that I like doing it. It's that fact that at the end of the day, I got something to show for what I did that day. And it may not be a, you know, a beautiful masterpiece or what have you. But, yeah, Miss Victoria says it is for her. I just think, you know, Miss Victoria, there's so much, there's so many things in the world that happen that we literally have zero control over. But you know, I always think about the fact that I do have control over how I respond. Now that's on me, you know. And so sometimes when I wouldn't really know how to respond to a situation, maybe I hadn't come to that in my own spirit yet about what to do, I would just get out and, you know, I don't know. I used to paint out in a little shop out in the back of our property, and it was kind of isolated back there. But you know, I really liked it, and I always just loved it out there. And I think so much of it was because I could be alone. Because when I was teaching, if you've ever taught school, or even just in the workplace in general, even if you've never taught school, you know, in the workplace in general, you have to, you know, say the right things, do the right things, have a smile on your face, you know, be socially acceptable and all that kind of stuff. And I understand the reasoning behind all that, but sometimes you're just over it, you know. And so I would go out there and I would have the radio on and I would just, you know, paint. And I didn't have to answer to anybody. I didn't have to look at anybody. I didn't have to respond, you know, to anybody. I just kind of got to be alone with my thoughts. And so I just think for me, painting has really been, obviously I earn my living, y'all, by doing it. Hey, Joy, how are you? So glad you could join us. I was talking about you a little bit earlier, Miss Joy. I was talking about how we were talking about brushes one day on how to get a lot of paint on a brush and shade. We were talking about, you know, if your brush isn't aging, you know, if you want to age it and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, painting has just been, sometimes, you know, now in the situation that I'm in, I earn my living painting. So sometimes it can be kind of crazy, you know, like I have to get it done because that's what a customer wants. But for the most part, it's the fact that I get to you know, create something. Painting has been a therapeutic break some weekends from homeschooling all week long. Yes. Those of you who are homeschooling, especially if you haven't been doing that before COVID-19, I think you're crisis schooling, you know, because homeschooling is a choice that you make across time. You have time to evaluate, make all sorts of decisions based on what's important to you, what you think you want to do and all that. But you know, when all this stuff hit, I think you're just doing a lot of crisis management and crisis situation, so you're crisis schooling. Oh, Joy, you said you think you've got it down pretty well. Good, good. Well, you know, if you can hang tough until you can get down the shading and the outlining, you're 100% there, 100%. You know, if you can control this script liner and if you can do the shading, then, you know, everything else you can make it work. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So I've got some black, and I just kind of come up in here, and I'm just outlining. That's all I'm going to do, okay? And I'm not going to try to do anything too crazy. I will come in here. Now, it depends on if you want to give them eyelashes. That's a real personal choice. I typically give eyelashes to most things that I do. It's just something I like. It's just my style, if you will, you know, something I like. And I'm going to leave the nose alone right there because I'm going to come back later and I'm going to use that bright red-orange on that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline the hat. Now I'm debating about, I really think I've got enough right here that I don't need to put any eyelashes on this guy. I think I'm okay because we've got really nice big eyes and I don't have a lot of space for eyelashes. So I'm going to kind of come in here. I'm just going to butt up to that shading orange that I did. Just kind of get up there real close to that. And then I'm going to do like so, like that. And then I'll come over here. And I'll come up here. Same thing. I'm just taking that script liner of black and getting very close to that script liner of orange that I did there. I'm going to come up here. And notice when I'm doing this, I tend to just kind of take my black strokes and put them on, near, or on top of my colored strokes. Yeah, they're too, and the thing about both of them though, you know, it's like, I have a girl that's been working with me for a long time and her kids are doing virtual. They're here in Pearland, they're doing virtual. But it does have its own set of challenges. So, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, I don't think either one of them is very easy at this point. I think we're just having to adjust so much. And so I really feel for you guys that have school agers. And I think so many of you are doing a great job considering everything that's been thrown at you. I don't think I could have done it. You know, I just think that y'all have had a lot thrown at you. But, you know, in a lot of ways, too, I think about this, y'all. That's life. Hey, all kinds of goofy things or crazy things are going to happen that you've never thought about or anticipated or counted on or whatever, and you just have to roll with it. And I get that it's easier said than done. I totally get that. But I do think the kiddos that are going through this, you know, good or bad, they're just getting a real dose of some life lessons, you know. And that part, you know, I just think, well, I guess all we can do is try to take the lesson out of what's happening and just move on. There's really nothing else you can do. So I'm just kind of putting some outline here. I'm going to go ahead and go on his little suspender right here and bring that up here. So you put it over here where y'all can see it a little better. Okay, I think I've got it a little bit better there. I'm going to try to move this around, y'all. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to come over here on this suspender right here. And then I have that gray button. I'm going to go ahead and outline it with the black. I'll come down here. There we go. Okay. Now, I have not put any shading on this gray patch, and I think I'm going to. So, if you happen to have the gray and you want to make some shading, all I'm going to do, because there's no such, I don't think we have shading gray, I'm just going to take some black, put it in a little spoon, put it in here in this black, in this gray, just give it a stir. Yeah, he does have a cute face, doesn't he? And I think, you know, good design is good design. And if you have a good pattern, it's so much easier because it's almost like you can do so many different things and it's still going to turn out good, you know. So, I've got this. I'm going to make that brush fan out a little bit. I'm going to come in here and just put some gray, some dark gray on that patch. Just a little bit, just to kind of give it, not much. You can see I didn't do much, but just to kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz there. And then it's really about me following those CNC lines with this script liner with a lot of black on there. And I'm going to kind of come up here. Can y'all see? Yeah. I keep moving this thing, hoping that, making sure y'all can see. And I'm just going to come over here and follow just that basic pattern on the cuff of his pants. And then, of course, there's this patch right here on his knee. I'll probably do something like that. I've already done his green tennis shoes, and I like them, so I'm going to leave them alone. I've already shaded and highlighted, shaded and outlined using the same color. I didn't go 3 colors on the tennis shoes. I just went 2. So let's do this. Come over here. And then I'm going to just work on my bucket right here. Now I will bring the black on this side of the shoe just to outline the bucket. I will do that. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to outline the bucket between the bucket and his hand. And then of course I'm going to do that. I see something I did not get here, so I'm going to stop right quick. And I'm going to get this flat tip brush. I'm going to get some of the shading brown because I didn't get any. I missed that. There we go. Okay, I'm going back with my script liner, my black paint. Oh, Carla says, I just love watching y'all paint. And you know, Carla, I hope that, you know, I don't know where you are on painting or whatever, but I sincerely, even though, you know, I love painting, and of course I love the finished product, and I think that's fun, but when I cannot express to you enough how so much of my love of painting really doesn't have anything to do with necessarily the finished product as it is just the process too, you know, that process of getting to create something. I said a little earlier how so much of different times in my life I could come out and just paint, and maybe things weren't going well, but it is the one thing I could do that made me feel better. And a lot of that is just I got to create something and have something to show for it. And a lot of it is that, you know, it's an activity you can do alone, and it doesn't require any people skills. It doesn't require any anything other than just being in the moment. Maybe you got to make a decision about what color to use, but that's really about it. Hey Jan, how are you? I'm so glad you could join us. Oh yes, Debbie, you definitely could, and typically I would use the shading red. Debbie has followed us enough. She knows that this is reindeer brown, which is that number 32, and this is your shading brown, which is number 34. And a lot of times my go-to would be the shading red to outline. I'm just doing it in black today, probably because I've got so much black on my scarecrow. But you definitely could do it in the shading red as far as your outline, definitely. So let's go back up here and let's look at this guy. I don't know if I'm done, but I think I'm close to being done. I keep moving him around a lot. Now, I think so many of y'all have heard Ashley and I say that we're not finished till we put some white on this guy for highlights. So I'm washing out my brush, and I am going to do this. I'm going to take a little bit of that red orange, and I'm going to do this around here. Now my black is really not dry, so this is not ideal, but I wanted to do it because, you know, I want to show y'all. So, okay, well, there went the lid. So, okay, so I'm gonna get some white. I'm washing out my brush. And y'all know by now that we do the kind of the end thing here with some white. Now, before I do it, in fact, I'll turn him towards the camera so hopefully you can have a little better view. But before I put any white on him, I want to just show you what he's looking like. So this is what he looks like, right? And I want you to see, I'm going to hold it up in just a minute when I get a lot of the white on it, and just see how different he looks. And all I did was put some highlight. That's all I did. And I just start highlighting. Now I will highlight even on that scarecrow white, even though you might not see it that much because scarecrow white is so close to the white. I still highlight that, y'all. And I just come in and make brush strokes. That's all I do. And how do you know where to highlight it? My answer is you put it on this base color that has nothing on it. You don't want to put your highlights on top of your shading color or on top of your black. You don't want that. So come in and just find some room where you have that base color showing through and just put a couple of strokes there. Nothing serious, but it will give your piece just a little bit different look, I think. So I will come over here, come back up here, and I'll probably just do a little bit of a highlight right there on that gray button, and I'll come down here like this. To me, the little highlight just kind of gives it a little of a, I don't know, an accent maybe, or a little bit of an exaggeration that looks good, I think. I'll probably do that. And then I'll come over here. See if y'all can see all this. Okay. And I'm going to come here. And again, I'm just putting color of the white brush strokes wherever that base coat color is sticking through. And I'm going to show it to you in just a second. I'm going to put this up like that. That. Got some over here. I'm just looking to make sure I haven't lost anything. Okay, I'm gonna hold this guy up now so so you can see what he looks like now with the white. See the difference? And all I did was spend, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds putting some white on him. So there's my Scarecrow on a bucket, y'all. I think he's super cute. He's 40 inches tall, and he's got all sorts of colors on him, but that's what a Scarecrow is all about. So if you guys like the Scarecrow, you can come over to the shop and buy one. You can get them online. And next week, y'all, let's see, the 21st, we may have to change that, but I will definitely let y'all know, and I'll post that. But if we go next week, it's on the 21st with the sunflower pumpkin with Miss Victoria. She'll also be here on the 25th with the Scarecrow face with the pumpkin. Now, don't forget, tomorrow night we'll be doing Zoom from 7 to 8. We'd love to have you guys join us. Ashley will email you a link tomorrow to that. And it's just your time to ask questions, get to know us a little better, put a face and a name together, gossip, tell silly jokes, talk about our crazy families, all those kinds of things. So thank you, Miss Joyce. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for all you guys joining us. I love painting. Love getting to share that with y'all. And hopefully you guys will be painting a Scarecrow or some fall stuff and get a little inspiration. So, hi, Jan. Thank you so much. And I've enjoyed it. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.